From the rolling hills of southern Virginia to the beautiful seaside nature that is Barcelona, we find ourselves at the Circuit de Catalunya here today for the fourth round of the OBS Super Cup. Hello everyone and welcome here to the channel. My name is DJ Clark, going to be bringing you the whole action here today as we take a look at the overhead shot of this beautiful classic racing venue as it was. Circuit length about 2.8 miles, around 14 corners here. We are running the layout that it was circa 1995, so that means none of the fiddly bits at the end of the section, and this is going to present some very, very good overtaking opportunities, particularly coming down this long main straightaway. But, as I said, this is the OBS Super Cup. My name is DJ Clark, and we're ready to let these Porsche 911 GT3 Cup machines out and loose onto the circuit here today. It's going to be fast, it's going to be vicious, it's going to be fantastic, and there is absolutely no question about that. But before we get into the action, we do have a video for you to bring you on in. Our very own Gustas are going to be giving us an idea of just what it's like to be running around this circuit. That'll be popping up here in just a few minutes' time as we take a look at some of the corners around this circuit. Obviously, many changes throughout the years, mostly done in favor of safety, and obviously the memorial here of Luis Salom, the unfortunate Moto2 rider who lost their life here back in 2016. Is a wonderful display here from iRacing to be able to include that into the video. But as we said, we've got a little bit of track preview here, so we're going to kick this over to Gustas, and we'll take you around this circuit.
Welcome to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. We're back in Europe for round 4 of the OBS Super Cup. Heading down into turn 1, it's a hard braking zone right before the 100-meter board. Down into third gear, you're aiming for that curb and then aiming for the other curb on the left. Now preparing yourself for the super long right-hander. Waiting patiently and then back on power, using all of the room on the exit as long as you don't get a track limit penalty. Now down into Repsol turn, down through the gears, getting the car to turn in, and then again, patience is the key, and then on power, using everything there is on the exit of the turn, the car pushing wide there naturally. Now, the slowest turn of the track, a very, very tight hairpin, very difficult to get back on power, but as you do, use everything there is on the exit. Now, from 5th down to 3rd, turning left here, be patient, on power, and then be careful of that sausage curve. It may just throw you out. Super fast right-hander, and a blind one as well, and then on power, you don't see where the exit is, and only once you come out, you know if you've stayed within the bounds. Then on to another hard braking zone. This was the slowest corner of the track. Well, not anymore. Turning left, and then a super difficult on power section here, the rear one to go away. Now trying to get a V shape through here and focus on the exit. A bit easier to get on power, but still the car very, very scrolly there. Now onto the new section, very fast through the right-hander, and then again braking zone into the final turn and on power as early as you can, because that exit so important onto the straight. And this is a lap of Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya.
And that was a view around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, as we take a look at the standings here for the Pro category. And, well, to the surprise of no one, it's Alexander Walton up at the top of the charts. Really no competition there for him. Jataudis and Philip Hammer, though, starting to get in a nice little battle there for P2. And don't count out Jamantis there behind, pretty close as well. Good little battle shaping up for P5 as well, with Tim Bretsky and Tony Ryan in there trying to be able to close in. Lars Baumler not too far behind there either. Joey Petrick, Marius Sipas, and Jordy Spetkins also rounding out that top category. It's a lot closer up at the top of the Pro Pro-Am standings, however, as Nicholas Maynard leads Arumas Zelinskis by only 3 points. Corey Lazarus about 12 points back from them, so he could certainly come in, and Enrikas Klipkas not too far behind either. Vince Ravicious in a tight little battle there with Razanauskas, and that could be something that pans itself out there. But again, that big battle, and the names you're going to be keeping an eye on here today, Nicholas Maynard and Arumas Zelinskis. Those are going to be the two that we are going to be looking for in that Pro-Am category to really try to push their way forward. They also have an AM championship here that we will be bringing up there. It is on your screen. Navikas leading the way right now by about 20 points. You have to excuse me there, viewers. I had to sneeze. But Vermillion holding on to second place here at this point. Obonis not too far behind him. Sakalaukas not too far behind either. And Jazowski could be making a little bit of a run. Callie Bagent there not too far behind either. Is that top 6 or so? Oh, well, we'll call them within striking distance if they're able to bring their way on in. But those are your standings. As you've already seen, we've got a 6-race calendar here. We are officially halfway over it. And massive thank you, as always, to OBS World, who serves as our sponsor for this event and any events that you see on the channel. We are in the midst of qualifying right now. As you take a look on your screen, the number 17 of Alexander Walton, that machine that has been, well, there's no other way to put it, dominant as dominant could be out on these races. Walton going to be looking for his 4th win on the trot as he brings his way down through the old school final sector of this lap. Remember that little fiddly chicane there that we see, that we have seen in modern Formula One layouts of this circuit. It is now gone. It is a straight shot from Europe car all down into New Holland. Now that should promote some pretty good overtaking on this circuit. Still waiting for first times to be able to come in on the board, as it looks like pretty much everyone is out on the circuit here at this moment, just trying to get those times in. It's only an 8-minute qualifying session, so not a whole lot of time for these drivers to get everything underneath them and done, but they're still going to be pushing for it nonetheless, as you really want to get a good lap time here during qualifying. Even with that revised final sector that we are running here today, it's still going to be a very difficult task to try to get an overtake done here around this Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. And so what that means is that for any of these drivers to really want to have a good day, I really think qualifying is going to be right where it's at. We watch Walton right now continuing to work his way around. Interesting there, Jamantis able to set down the fastest sector time through Sector 2. Tim Bresky fastest through Sector 1. And it looks like Lars Baumler there going to be the fastest through Sector 3 at the moment. And the way you can tell that, by the way, is those little rectangles down at the bottom of your screen. If you see a green there through the sector, each one of those 3 rectangles representing a sector on this lap. If you see a green indication there, that is a personal best time. That is the best that that driver has been able to do over the course of the session. If you see purple like you do under Tim Bresky, now that is the fastest out of anyone. And then the color that we don't want to be talking about here today, that's going to be yellow. That means that it is not faster than anything you have done. As Jomantis jumps up to the top of the board, quickly followed by Tim Bresky. Thorsten Seifert going to line up in third. Kagan Spark, Tadas Krusaitis, Arturas Kundalis, Linus Petrovicius, Vilius is going to be there as Vince Peters now jumps up to the top of the charts by a very substantial margin, about 0.6 of a second there for that number 45. That is a clear indication that he is here to play today. A bit surprising, Alexander Walton down in 17th position at the moment, but if we think back to a couple of weeks ago at the last round of Virginia International Raceway, we saw Walton do a similar thing. He was slow during that first lap of qualifying. We suspect he was kind of bringing his tires up to temperature, slowly bringing the car up in, using that first lap as a bit of a banker, a bit of a way to get everything set, and then he will take off and truly put his way forward. But right now, the time to beat by Vince Peters, a 1:45.136, so that is what everybody's going to be trying to go for. Outside of that gap, though, between Peters and Jumantis, it's pretty small margins through the rest of the field. Jumantis and Lazarus only separated by about 0.05 of a second. Tim Bresky only 1/4 of a tenth back from Corey Lazarus. Thorsten Seifert about 0.3 back from Bresky, so that's a little bit larger. As we do have some drivers that look like they've fallen into a little bit of trouble. Klipkas having a little bit of a problem there. He's going to take a tow back down into pit lane as we watch the 171 Nicholas Maynard. Remember, this is one of those drivers that is involved in that Pro-Am championship that we talked about. He is going to be looking for a very very, very good day. And I've got to say here at this point, 14th, probably not what he wants to do. He needs to get his way farther up forward, especially considering all of those Pro-Am drivers that we see farther on up the charts. Bring the car down, though, through Lakaja, trying to see what he's able to do as the 13 crosses over the line. Little bits of improvement here and there. That's Tim Bretsky being able to put down a good time. Jatautis going to jump up into P2 at the moment as Tony Roundon now going to be the one that comes up to the top position. And there it is from Alexander Walton, the number 17 machine, putting in a time of 1:44.460 to bring him up and on his way. That will be pole position provisionally for the number 17. Philip Hammer, one of his big rivals, is going to be about 0.2 of a second back. Tony Roundon about 0.2 back from him. Vince Peters 0.2 back, and then Jatautis to round out your top 5, only about 1/10 back from Vince Peters. What's it looking like in the Pro-Am category? Well, Corey Lazarus leads the way over Kleepkus and Seifert here at this point with Kagan Spark separating out those two. Back down in the Am Championship, they're all clustered a little bit farther back down in the field. Sandra Vermillion going to be leading the way over Novickis, and then Zelinskis going to separate the battle there with Jazowski, going to be in 3rd place in the AM category. But we follow on your screen right now the 169 working their way around the track at the moment. This is Tadas Krasaitis trying to see what they're able to do. And unfortunately, there on the front of that 169, looks like there's a wee little bit of damage. And so that's not exactly what he is going to want to see. And will probably slow him down, may lose him a little bit of downforce through the corners and through the faster sections of this track, inevitably may create a little bit of drag on the front of that car. But now as he comes down out of Europe car, or right now through Europe car, bringing the car around into New Holland. Again, this fast sweeping corner of the track, very, very crucial to get right as it leads you onto the main straightaway. Tim Bretsky able to improve a little bit at the last time of asking. That's going to move the number 13 up into 6th place overall as more drivers going to be crossing over the line here at this point. Looks like Alexander Walton is done for the day. He's going to pull that car down into pit lane as that's not going to be enough there for them. Lars Baumler going to be able to pull on in. Philip Hammer also looking like that's not going to be an improvement there for him. Kleepkus trying to put a good time down on the board. Let's see if Vince Peters has anything for the asking as the number 45 will cross over the line. He's got plenty for the asking. That's going to be pole position with a 1:44.350. Vince Peters with the stunner here with about 2 seconds left to go in qualifying as there the checkered flag flies and Peters stealing this away at the final minute. You have got to love to see that. Well, folks, we're going to now line ourselves up for these heat races, and I've got to say the Belgian making things a little bit interesting here as he was able to pull his way up into that pole spot. Standing starts and 3 laps of racing here for each of these heats, and in this Heat A, it will be Vince Peters leading the way over Harold Jatautis, then Lars Baumler, Arturas Kundalis, Tadas Krasaitis going to be in P5, and crucially the first of those Pro-Am cars. Then it's going to be Zelinskis, Pargalauskas, and then Urbonis to round out your 8-car grid. Again, 8 cars here, 3 laps around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And so they're going to have to push here a little bit. Again, overtaking a little bit of a challenge here, even though we aren't running through that order. As there you see those drivers popping up onto your screen. About a minute left for them to grid up if they so choose. As there we see the 56 of Jatautis. I always love that livery, that kind of speckled red and white. It's very striking. It's not normally something you see on a livery. As there, Vince Peters also going to work his way onto the grid, just waiting for the 208 and the 47 here of Lars Baumler to work their way onto the grid. Again, about 45 seconds for them to get on here. As there we've got a view a little bit from the starters stand. Everybody getting ready to go. Just waiting and watching and waiting here for everything to make its way forward. Let's see what they're able to do. 20 seconds left as there comes Lars Baumler onto the grid. Still waiting for Martinez there in that 208 at the back of the grid. That'll be 7th place. Only got about 10 more seconds to grid up. This could be a pit lane start here for the 208. We will have to see. A little bit of wiggling of the wheels there for some of these drivers as they get themselves ready to go. As there, the lights come on and we are ready to go. It will be a pit lane start for the 208. 2 lights on as the engines begin to rev, and there goes the green. We are racing here in Spain. Not the best getaway from Peters, as Jatautis is actually going to be able to threaten him a little bit coming down the main straightaway, and that's going to be Peters having the inside line, that preferred line coming down the hill. Behind them, Baumler, Crucitus, and Kundelis almost thinking about 3 wide. Big dive on the binders there for the 56 of Jatautis, and he's going to be able to take the lead away from Vince Peters here in the early time of asking. And what a getaway there for Tadas Crucitus as well, as Tadas was able to gain 2 positions, indeed putting Arturas Kundelis down into P4. As there we take a look a little bit at the restart, and that is one of the cars. I believe that, that did not look very good indeed. A little bit of argy-bargy, as my friend Calvin Fish would say, coming around through the corners. Oh, is that's going to be a car off? That's Tadas Crucitus off in the background, I believe. Just ran a little bit wide at the exit of Repsol, and that was plenty enough to be able to throw him around. But meanwhile, here we're going to take a look at that replay in the 169, that blue machine on your screen. I don't believe this was impact. Oh, just a big snap of oversteer. Those tires really, really loaded at the exit of that section. This first part of the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, very, very high lateral load put on the tires, so you've got to be very, very careful as you try to go through and put on the power. The battle certainly on here for P1. Everyone else is pretty much separated to over a second of a gap, as it's going to be Vince Peters trying to close down on Haraldus Jatautis, trying to see if he's going to be able to regain that leading position that he had at the drop of the green flag. Again, a bad start here from Peters, from the Belgian driver, putting him down in the order just a little bit. As now they fly down through the final sector of the track. Again, no chicane here, and so that's going to allow for some much better overtaking. Almost a little bit of a how you doing there, given by Vince Peters coming down off of the line. They're going to work their way onto the main straightaway, and here that draft is going to come into play. Jatautis knows it's coming, immediately moves defensive off to the left or to the right-hand side of the track, but Peters is not going to be disturbed. He's going to try to pull it onto the outside. Now they're going to be side by side coming down into the corner. Peters trying to take the widest line that he can going down into the corner, but a beautiful fade there given by Jatautis, trying to be able to block out Peters, but Peters able to carry momentum as now they climb up the hill into Renault, and it's going to be Peters on the inside line. A brilliant overtaking move that took about 3 corners to get done, but your pole sitter back up into the lead of the race. Very, very good stuff there from Vince Peters to be able to get that to play. I didn't think he was going to have it when they came down in, but you saw just how wide he was able to swing that car out and really make it work. I thought for a second that we were going to see that green machine in the background of Arturas Kundelis maybe get into this equation, but now that Peters and Jatautis have gone back into single file running, it looks like that he's going to have a little bit more to do to try to catch it back up. Jatautis, though, he is the one under the pressure here at this point, trying to close in on the back of Vince Peters, trying to see what he is going to be able to do. But as they dive down to the braking zone here for Lakaja, not necessarily looking like he is going to be able to get anything to play. But remember that draft. Remember what we saw Jatautis able to do on that last time of asking on that last lap. Is he going to be able to send a similar move now and make something play here? Jatautis is going to have to keep the power down, coming down through New Holland. This final set of corners as they work their way through Europe car right now. Careful not to hit too much of that rumble strip on the outside. They're going to get onto the loud pedal down the main straightaway, taking about every single inch of track that they can. And Jatautis losing time and losing a lot of it there as Peters crosses over the line, setting the fastest lap of the race. No, call me surprised there. Lars Baumler actually able to take the fastest lap of the race with 1:45.882. Peters still doing enough to be able to keep Jatautis at bay for the moment. Jatautis going to be holding back into second place position, about a half a second behind Vince Peters. Now I've got to imagine that the Visceral driver is going to try to pull out that gap a little bit more as they climb the hill up the Renault right now. Looking like he's not going to be any under pressure here coming up into Repsol. Sometimes you can see a little bit of an overtake there into the long right-hander, but not going to be done here on this last lap. Going down here into the corner, we take a beautiful split screen as we ride on board with Haraldus Jatautis. Jatautis trying to close in, trying to be able to see if he's able to close in on the back of Vince Peters here at the moment. But it doesn't quite look like he's got the speed to do it. That gap resolutely staying at about 4.5, 5/10 of a second as they climb the hill again here. Coming up through Worth, getting ready to go into Campsa. Such a tricky corner here up into turn 9. It is one of the most difficult corners on this circuit, and indeed I would actually argue in the world to get right. You got to dab the brakes just right to get it to go and still carry enough momentum to be able to take it on that long back straightaway. Chitautis closed down a little bit down the backstretch as they went into Lakaja, but it's not going to be nearly close enough to be able to make an attack here at this point. Is now indeed coming through Bank Sabadell. It is going to be Peters starting to extend a little bit more, starting to pull away as they come down now into Europe car for the final time in this first heat race, Heat A, coming down through New Holland. It doesn't look like there's going to be any challenge, and it's going to be Vince Peters up at the top of the grid. He is going to cross over the start-finish line and take the checkered flag from Barney the Flagman. A victory from pole position here for Vince Peters. Haroldus Chitautis looked like he may have been able to get a little bit to play earlier on in the race, but certainly not enough to do it there, although he did set the fastest lap of the race on that last run, so that could be a little bit of a solace there for the number 56, but we will have to see as the last of our cars finish over there. Tomas Urbonis going to be moving his way across the line. Chrysaitis, by the way, a DNF there in Heat A. But that's going to move us directly on into Heat B. The big storyline here in this heat is for the first time all season long, your reigning points leader, Alexander Walton, your three-time champion here in the series, he's not going to be in Heat A. He's down in Heat B, being pipped to the line there by those drivers you saw, but it's going to be Walton, Bresky, Kagan Spark, Christian Ruska. They're your top four, followed by Penchkovicius, Vancevicius, Jazowski, and Lamelli to round out your 8-car grid. Just waiting on Kagan Spark to be able to line up on the grid here at this point, as we do have two SIMSA teammates there between Bresky and Walton. I wonder if we'll see a little bit of coordination off of the start. I wonder if we'll see a little bit of coordination over the course of the race if they decide to maybe do anything at this point. Still waiting here for Spark to get on the grid. Again, has about 2 minutes to be able to get on there, as they're going to be a pit lane start for Kagan Spark. All right, 3 lights on, 5 lights on as engines rev, and there goes the green. A little bit of wheel spin there for Walton. Bad wheel spin there for Tim Bresky as Christian Ruska going to be trying to make the move right now in that number 63, and he's already got it done as they peel down the main straightaway right here at this point. That's going to be Bresky trying to find a little bit of an opportunity there behind him, fanning out almost to going 2-3 wide down into the corner. We are 2 wide, a little bit farther behind him between Penchkovicius and Vancevicius. They're going to sort themselves out by the time they get into Sayat. Trying to see here at this point if anybody's going to have a little bit of a run. Walton looking relatively unchallenged, but my big question here is Christian Ruzicka. What is the Austrian driver going to be able to do here at this point? That number 63 looking incredibly strong off of the drop of the green flag, able to gain 2 positions. Oh, little bit of a look, though, for Tim Bresky, the German, certainly wanting to have an attack here. He feels like he was done a little bit dirty off of the start, and got to be his own little fault there. We saw the car have a little bit of wheel spin. We saw the revs bog down a little bit, but let's see here as he closes in behind, trying to see what he is able to do at the front of the field. Your 3-time winner here in the series, Alexander Walton, will lead the way by a gap of about 1.1 seconds. Walton doing exactly what he needs to do and what we have come to expect from him at this point in the season. We focus back on Bresky and Ruzicka right now. Bresky taking a little bit of a look to the outside, going down into Lakaja. Well covered off there from Ruzicka. I think he knows where that battle is going to be coming from. I'm going to give a little bit of credit here to Nicholas Jazowski, who's a little bit farther back down in the field in the 215. That is an AM driver that currently runs 5th, so a very, very good run for them. Up through Bank Sabadell, almost pushing him through the corner. There is Tim Bresky. Ruzicka trying to hold it off. Bresky looked at a look down there going into Europe car, but that's not going to be enough to plan it out as we go side by side here. Ruzicka, the onboard, that is Ruzicka on the onboard there that you saw for a quick moment, is now the draft comes into play. Walton setting the fastest lap of the race. Ruzicka and Bresky ready to fight this out. Bresky getting a good helping of the draft coming down the main straightaway. He's going to dive down into the corner. We ride on board with the number 13 as they go into Elf. Not looking like it is, but that's a wide run there for Christian Ruzicka, and that's enough to throw him off out into the outside area and let him on by does Tim Bresky. The 2 SIMSA Esports teammates going to find themselves up into 1 and 2 just as they started the race, but that error there from Christian Ruzicka going to open up a little bit of an opportunity here for Linus Petkovicius as he tries to push his way forward at the moment, and that's now going to be a little bit of a battle taking place on your screen. As Bresky there, you can see plenty of opportunity around him. Walton up into the front with no concerns whatsoever. He's already got a gap of 2.7 seconds on the rest of the field, and so he is going to be sitting pretty flying high and doing a good job As there, we've got a little bit of a battle farther back in the field. Now that is Justin Lamelli there holding on, a spin around in the back. It looks like there's a little bit of a love tap there, sending the car spinning around. The 119 of Vansavicius may be causing a little bit of contact there. That may be something that the stewards want to take a look at a little bit later on, but we will let you know about that if we hear any sort of rulings or anything like that. Heat B here, already halfway done, as Alexander Walton brings the car down through Europe car now here, avoiding that final chicane that we have talked about so many times, coming down into New Holland. Looking a little bit farther back down in the field, this is a battle for P3 at the moment. Christian Ruzicka and Linus Petrovicius. And once again, this 145, I'm impressed with this car here. Up one position since the drop of the green flag, and this is a Pro-Am car. You can tell that by the 1 in front of the numbers. The 145, the 119, the 172, those are all Pro-Am drivers. And Linus here is putting pressure to the back of Christian Ruzicka. Ruzicka, obviously one of your pro competitors. That error from him on the last lap, I think, really and truly coming back to bite in a probably pretty big mental way for Ruzicka as he tries to gather everything back up under him and keep himself going around here. Remember, he'll have another bite at the apple to try to move his way forward up in the field as we go into the A main, the B main, and the C main. But nevertheless, you still want to not have to do as much work as possible for these drivers. Walton, though, up at the front of the field, doing what Walton does best, and that is leading a 4-second gap already between him and Tim Bresky. That is going to be absolutely dominant there for the number 17, and frankly, just what we've come to expect from him. This is exactly the kind of run that he has put down as he brings his way up and over Campso right now, putting down the pressure here. A little bit of a battle farther back in the field. This is Kagan Spark trying to make a move on Justin Lamelli. It looks like there that Kagan may have been able to get his way on by, unless I'm greatly mistaken, as Lamelli looked like he had a little bit of a problem there. Going to kick up a little bit of dirt on the outside of the corner there, it looked like, and indeed the 172 looking like they're going to be up into good position here at this point. But that's of no mind here to your leader, Alexander Walton, coming out of the final corner. As there we see the pass from Kagan Spark, but Walton crosses over the start-finish line, takes victory here in Heat B. Tim Bresky, his teammate, will follow him home to be able to secure onto that second-place position that he qualified in. Then Christian Ruzicka and Linus Penchkovicius going to round out your top 4. Valdis Vansavicius will be in P5. Looking down farther through the field, Kagan Spark with that last lap move, going to be able to move his way up into P6. Then Justin Lamelli and Nicholas Jazowski will round out your 8-car grid here in Heat B, and that will, as soon as we watch Spark cross over the line here at this point, that'll lead us right on into Heat C. Two big hitters here up at the front of the field between Phil Hammer and Erigis Gemantis. That is going to be the big battle that we're going to have our eyes on, I think, through the course of this heat race. Behind them, it's Klipkas and Vilius in your second row, then Razanauskas and Vermilion behind them in row 3, Sakalauskas in P7, and then Jazlavicius will be rounding out your 8-car grid. Still waiting for a few more drivers to grid up here as we take the familiar view from that starter stand on the rest of the field. Here they go, getting ready as the lights come on for lights on, and there they are off, and it's race time here today. And here they go, working their way on through. Good start there for Philip Hammer. Klipkas looks like he's been able to gain a position, as that was a terrible start from Gemantis, already dropping all the way down through the field here at this point. Trying to see what they are able to get. A little bit of a battle there farther back down in the field between Vermilion and Razanauskas as they bring it on through, but the field going to be single file here at this point. Gemantis and Sakalauskas trying to have a little bit of a coming together. It seems like as they bring their way up the hill, this is the look a little bit farther back, the move being sent on those cars further back in the field as they now try to be able to get their way forward. The 123 doing a good job. Vilius trying to take a little bit of a look there on Gemantis, I believe, as Gemantis runs wide, and that opens up the door there for Vakars Vilius, as now it's going to be a little bit of side-by-side here between himself and Razanauskas. This is a nice little battle starting to shape up. 3 drivers working their way around, trying to see what they are able to do as they continue to work their way on. Oh, wide run there, as that's going to be an off for just Gemantis, going off into the kitty litter, and that'll dump him back down farther in the field, 7th, even 8th place as they run, trying to see what happens happens there, but we keep our eyes focused on the 123 there of Vacaris Vilius, trying to see if he's able to get a little bit of a run. That's the 129 of Razanauskas in front of him. Farther back down in the field, that is Sakalaukas, trying to see if he's able to catch any move on Jamantis. Remember, Jamantis trying to recover here from that early error. Here is your P2 as we take a look a little bit farther back. Here is your P2, Enrikas Klipkas, trying to close down on the dominant force here in Heat C. That is Philip Hammer. But Hammer has absolutely no mind of trying to give up any position here at this point, as he comes down through New Holland, bringing the car around and absolutely putting this field through the paces here. As we take a look farther back down in the order, here is Jamantis in that number 71 machine. Looks like he's going to have a little bit of a run here on Veritas there in that number 213. Looks down to the inside, tries to be later on the binders. Good shutting of the door there and a little bit of a brake lock up, it has to be said, from the 71 of Jamantis, as he's going to try to fight back there coming up through Elf. That's not going to play. He's going to have to stay in line here as they climb the hill up through Renault. Meanwhile, we've got a nice little battle there that you see on the left side of your screen. That is Vermilion, Razanauskas, and Vilius is there. Razanauskas tries to make a little bit of a move, side-by-side crossover move done on Xander Vermilion, and that is going to be Razanauskas getting things wrong, coming up through the corner, just dove it in a little bit deep, and Vilius says, thank you very much. I will take that position away from you gladly. Meanwhile, Regis Jamantis able to gain that position over the number 213, so that'll put him up into 6th place overall. A little bit disappointing if you are one of the drivers in that pro category that you find yourself that far down in the order, but you still got 2 more races to try to make that up when we go to the B and C mains, as well as the feature event, which will be 5 laps instead of 3. As that's the 123. I can't tell, frankly, if they were trying to go defensive or they were trying to go offensive, trying to make a look on Xander Vermilion, or trying to get a little bit of a defense there on Razanauskas. But either way, they're going to stay in position here at this moment. Hammer continues to lead up the front of the field. We take a look on board Razanauskas as they dive down into the final sector right now through Europe car. Wide line there for Jamantis, it looks like. That is not what he wants to have happen. Or, excuse me, that's Vilius there. Not what he wanted to have happen in that number 123. And there you can see he lost so much speed coming off of New Holland. Immediately has to jump down to the inside and go defensive, as Razanauskas is going to try to carry that momentum, carry that speed around the outside. He'll have a nose ahead by the time they dive down into the braking zone. But here's the fight back from Vilius, going to hold down to the inside line and get able to play it at bay, trying to hold off there, trying to do a little bit of a crossover from Razanauskas, but that certainly won't make it happen. As here they come now, rising up through Renault, trying to see what they are able to do. By the way, not missing anything at the front of the field. Hammer leads from Klipkas. That gap about 2 seconds and about 3.5 seconds back to Xander Vermilion in 3rd place. But right now, looks like Razanauskas looking a little bit hungry, trying to see if he's able to get a little bit of a play, but now it's going to be Vilius that looks a little bit hungry on the back of Xander Vermilion. Tries to go for the outside move, almost gets him, gets into the side of him, and that is going to be Xander Vermilion almost spun around. That was a little bit dirty, I think, from the 123. Not exactly what they wanted to see have happen, but certainly a bad run there, and that it will promote Vilius up into the top position of that little battle. Not without Xander Vermilion losing 3 positions, as Jamantis was also able to steal the spot away. That is that white and orange machine you see coming up behind the 129 of Razanauskas, so he could maybe gain a position or 2 more before the end of the race. On the right side of your screen, though, that is your leader, Philip Hammer, coming down into Europe car right now, bringing that number 60 Porsche 992 GT3 Cup down through the corners, trying to see. Ooh, a little bit of squirreliness there, but I've got my eye on the leader as Hammer crosses over the line to take victory. The number 71, though, that is going to be Jamantis trying to make that move. Looks like he's going to go for that move, as that is going to be Razanauskas making a big error coming out of the final corner, just too much throttle into it, and that sends him out into the outside grass, and that'll lose him a position, as it will give Jamantis P4 in the running. A good recovery there from Jamantis, remember, who was far down in the order at the drop of the green flag. One more heat race before we get into the C and B mains. Here it's going to be Tony Raunen leading the way over Corey Lazarus, then Thorsten Seifert, Eduardus Klipkas, Nicholas Maynard, Navikas, and Baganavicius, rounding out your 7-car grid for this 3-lap heat race. as we wait for a few more drivers to get their way onto the grid at the moment. And we want to take this time to thank the sponsor of today's race, MTSGRG. Check them out on Instagram for awesome car content and the awesome MTSGRG car rally starting this week. Again, check out MTSGRG. All right, just waiting for one more driver, and as soon as I say that, we see them grid up right now, and the lights begin to come on here from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, as we get ready to go back racing. 5 lights on, 5 laps off, and there goes the green as Raunen gets a decent start, but he's going to be challenged a little bit here by Corey Lazarus. Indeed, those two are going to go side by side going down into turn 1. Lazarus trying to give a little bit of a challenge here up to Tony Raunen. Raunen's going to have to sweep around the outside as they go down into the turn 1 corner. And look at that. Corey Lazarus, the Pro-Am driver, able to send a move on Tony Raunen and take first place away. They work their way up through Renault right now. It looks like Lazarus trying to put a little bit of pressure onto the back of the field here at this point. They're still very, very close running. Looks like Thorsten Seifert there at a 4th place tried to have a little bit of a run, but that's going to be Seifert going off into the kitty litter. He will be to the outside, and he will be invalidated from this race, it certainly looks like. Now Raunen very, very hungry here, trying to look ahead on Corey Lazarus, but Nicholas Maynard may have something else to say about that as he tries to push his way forward, as we've got a little bit of 3-car breakaway, as Navicka's not looking like he's going to be in position to be able to challenge these top 3. Lazarus, Raunen, and Maynard. Maynard up 2 since the drop of the green flag, so a very, very good run there for him. Now it looks like he's going to be dropping back a little bit. Nicholas Maynard running a little bit wide there was Tony Raunen. Coming up and over the corner as now they dive down into Lakaja. Not sure if we're going to see a move here quite yet, as indeed they'll stay in line. Meanwhile, the 127 of Eduardus Klipkas sends a big old move down into the inside, and Klipkas is going to be able to regain that 4th position that he held after qualifying. The battle still continuing on here, though, for P1. Corey Lazarus holding off Tony Raunen, trying to see what he's able to do. Oh, that's a great run there for Tony Raunen as he holds in closely behind, tries to see what he is able to get done. Looking. Oh, loses a little bit in the aero wash there, but a bad run coming off the final corner for Corey Lazarus. Will set up a side-by-side. They're going to be as far apart can be coming down the main straightaway, but the absolute momentum is going to favor Tony Raunen, despite the fact Corey Lazarus sets the fastest lap of the race. That is going to be position gain for Tony Raunen. He'll be moving himself back up into the pole position. Now Corey Lazarus is going to be on the attack here to see if he's able to get his way back forward. Already is. Big move up into the inside of Renault, but it doesn't look like that's going to play itself out. Backed out of it, because I think if he didn't, he was going to understeer off into the side of Tony Raunen. Raunen now going to be holding onto the lead here for the moment. All right, bringing his way up through Repsol right now, your leader with a gap of 0.5 of a second, trying to be able to see if he can hold on to a win here in the final heat race of the day. Again, stick around. We've got 2 more heats, well, technically heats. There's semifinals of the C main and the B main coming up. We will go on into that full-length feature race in just a little bit of time. But Raunen not looking like he's getting too much pressure here from Corey Lazarus. Lazarus just losing a little bit of time as I take a look at the timing and scoring pylon right now. Raunen very, very quick through that first sector, actually about a full second faster than Lazarus, but Lazarus trying to close on in. The Kiwi trying to see what he is able to do here at this point. Not exactly looking like he's got the run he wants. The gap standing at 0.6 of a second here at this point. As they come down, oh, big wiggle in the back there from Corey Lazarus as it looked like the rear end of that car wanted to step out on him coming out of Bank Sabadell. As now they come down out of Europe car into New Holland, getting ready to take the white flag here from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And it looks like Raunen's going to have relatively smooth sailing, although Lazarus will get a little bit of an inkling of the draft here at this point. I don't think it's going to be enough to definitely pull him on in and keep him at bay for the moment. They have officially crossed over and taken the white flag as they dive down into L for one final time in Heat Race D. Taking a look a little farther in the field, that's Eduardus Klipkas trying to close up onto the back here of Nicholas Maynard as well, so battles for third and battles for first. The two that we certainly have our eyes on here at this moment. They bring their way up the hill right now, trying to see if Lazarus will be able to get anything to play here. Doesn't look like it at the moment. He's going to keep everything in line. Little bit of a wide run there for Raunen. They'll keep things together, though, as Corey Lazarus just tries to pile on the pressure. But it looks like that number 48 machine, the only pro driver in the field, not succumbing to it whatsoever. He's going to keep his way away right now. Lazarus trying to close in behind, but not looking like he's going to be able to do that here at this point. Tony Raunen closing on in, 0.7 of a second. The gap between the two as they go down into Lakaja. Lakaja leading its way perfectly into Bank Senbadel. As they come up the hill here at this point, working their way around, the gap expanding to 0.8 of a second. I don't think Lazarus is necessarily going to have it here at this point as they continue to go now into Europe car for the final time here in Heat Race D, as it looks like a little bit of a taking of the curb there. Lazarus trying to extract everything he can out of that 184 machine, as here they come across the start-finish line, and Tony Raunen will take victory in the 4th Heat Race of the day. Corey Lazarus will follow on behind him. Nicholas Maynard and Wardus Kleepkes rounding out your top 4, as that is Andreas Bagner-Novicius there in the 240 leading the way in 6th place. And Thorsten Seifert, who it has to be said, had a very, very rough run out there today. He will cross over the line in P7. Well, folks, that rounds up our heat races, and now it's time for the C-Main. Another 3-lap affair here, but we're going to double the amount of cars on the grid. That's right, we have got a full fleet of 15 cars ready to go as we wait for them to populate and get their way onto the grid. Vince Peters will be the one in pole position here, followed by Philip Hammer, then Jatautis, Kleepkes, Kundelis, Vilius, Baumler, Jomantis, Zelinskis, and Razanauskas round out your top 10. As it looks like here, we wait for Philip Hammer, we wait for Lars Baumler, the German. Now the only one to get on the grid is Philip Hammer, and that should be the indication, sure as day, that the lights are going to come on, and indeed, they are about ready to flick on over. We keep our eyes on the number 45 of Vince Peters, your pole sitter, as the lights go out, and we go racing here in Spain, and it looks like a good getaway there from Vince Peters. Jataud is going to start to threaten a little bit on Philip Hammer coming down into turn 1 as we look at that gaggle of 15 cars going Noah's Ark down into the corner, side by side by side by side, and it looks like the big battle here for P2. Who's it gonna be? Is Hammer gonna be able to give enough room coming down through the first corner? It looks like he is. That'll still set up a side-by-side between Jataudis and Philip Hammer, as now it looks like Philip Hammer is able to get it to play. Jataudis has to fall back into line here at this point, but Arturas Kundelis in the number 92, that lime green machine, getting brought into the equation as well. We take a look at the restart here. Some very, very good stuff from the rest of the field. Some good, respectful driving from everyone, and that was some contact there for the 169 of Tadas Krasaitis. It looked like that front car, that front tire just locked up with a little bit of contact, and that sent him right on in there, and that is not what he wants to have happen. Vince Peters, though, leads the field here. My eyes on the battle, though, between Philip Hammer and Harold Jataudis as they come down into that curving section that constitutes the Verth corner, trying to see what they were able to do. A little bit of a battle farther back in the field. Contact there as the 47 tries to rise their way up through. That's Lars Baumler getting their elbows out with Kleepkes, I believe, in that 123. We check back in on Philip Hammer here. Ooh, a little bit of a look from behind there from Harold Jataudis, thinking about trying to be a little bit aggressive going down into Lakaja, but that's not going to play itself out. They'll stay in single file order here as they climb back up the hill. Climbing back up the hill here at this point. Jataudis we ride on board with there. Oh, looks like Hammer was able to get a great getaway out of Europe car at the moment. That's going to put Jataudis at bay for the moment. But let's see here what they're able to do as they come onto the main straightaway. Looks like Jomantis here trying to eye up a move on Henrikas Kleepkes. Those are the two cars that you see on your picture-in-picture view. Kleepkes in that 122 doing a great job of making that car as wide as possible. Now going to take the outside line coming down into turn 1, and it looks like here that that 71 machine of Jomantis is going to try to carry the speed, but he's got to go around the long way here of the second part of the corner of Elf, but that'll set him up for the good run coming up the hill into Renault. Farther back down into the field, it looks like that the 223 of Tomas Urbonis is going to be able to hold on here as they work their way back up the hill. I can tell you here at this point, this is the battle for about 11th position at the moment. That is going to be Martinez right there behind him, trying to see if he's able to close on into the back. Is there the 122 trying to fight back? Klipka's trying to see if he can get that run on Germantis. Germantis was able to get the run up the hill coming up through Renault to make everything work for him. So that'll play out well as the 122 dives down to the inside of Wirth, trying to make that move work, but it's not going to play here for the moment, and the 71 will keep that position for the time being. All right, as we continue to watch these battles play themselves out, looking this way, looking that way, trying to see what they are able to do. The 47 trying to take a little bit of a dive there, going into the long right-hander of Max Sabadell, but that won't play itself out. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Klipka still looking on the back of Germantis here at this point, as the 43 just trying to see what they are able to do. 71, excuse me, trying to see what they are able to do. The 47 of Lars Baumler also trying to make a little bit of a look here on Arturas Kundalis. That's going to be the battle for P4 as your leaders have crossed over the start-finish line. That will be the first white flag we will see here in the C main and the B main as they cross on over, looking for those battles to try to take out, try to take place. Not going to see them play. The 223 farther back down in the field of Thomas Urbonis trying to look, not going to be able to get that to play as here they come. Ooh, maybe now a little bit of a run there for the 169 of Tadas Krosaitis. That could be a little bit of a go as well. Lars Baumler trying to be able to get a little bit of a play as well farther up in the field. Plenty of good battles here on this final lap of the C main. The 208 trying to take a little bit of a look. There is Baumler on the split screen trying to hound the back of that number 92 as he's going to go super deep down into the corner, and both drivers going to be out into the kitty litter. I've got to say that was a little bit of a mistimed run there from Lars Baumler as he brings his way back out onto track, and that's going to bring everybody up forward here at this point, trying to see if they are able to get anything to run. But now we're going to keep a look farther back down in the field at the 206 as he tries to be able to get his way around. By the way, the leader diving down into Lakaja right now, so nearing about the halfway point of this final lap. 223 right now of Thomas Urbonis trying to work their way around. There is the 45 on your screen. Only a couple of more corners to go here for Vince Peters to take victory in the C main, and that will set him up on the pole position for your main event here tonight. Side by side up in front of this 223 battle with Vermillion and Kundalis as they're trying to sort themselves out here somewhat desperately in the final run down to the corner right here at this moment, trying to see what they are able to get done. Driving out of the corner, powering their way around. Here they come off of the line, and the victor here will be Vince Peters. Hammer takes second, Chitautas, Germantis, Klipkas running across the line, and that will be your finishing order here for heat race the C main event here today. That's going to go ahead and line us up here for the moment as they get themselves ready to stack up for the next event. Trying to see what they are able to get done. As we line ourselves up here on the grid, Alexander Walton bringing their way on through. Here they go, lights out, and we are racing here once again from Spain as it's a good getaway, and the field powers their way on through to the line. Walton doing what Walton does best, and that's going to be able to lead them away here at this point, trying to see what they are able to do. A big 4-5 wide battle up and behind, trying to see what they can get going. Not able to get anything to play, and they dive down into the corner here at this point. It's a big, big break lock up from quite a few drivers as they try to sort themselves out down into the corner. Here they come, working their way up into the line. Oh, as there we see them working their way up through. That is Tim Bresky holding on to second place position here at this point. That's going to lock him in right now at this point into second as Walton speaks away at the front of the field, trying to see what they are able to do. Bresky leading the way at this point, trying to see if they are able to get their way going. Lamelli, as we watch right now on your screen, trying to be able to keep his way up into P5. A good battle up in these Pro-Am categories here at this point as they work their way on through. All right, Lamelli now continuing to hold it on as we cross over the line here to finish heat race to finish this final event here for the asking. And it really does look like Alexander Walton here at this point is going to be out and into the lead here at this point, doing a great job of being able to keep things at bay. Right now at the moment, though, here comes a little bit of side-by-side. Thorsten Seifert says, I've had enough tired of waiting around. He's going to move his way up and on forward as here they go down into the corner. Thorsten Seifert pushing some speed around the outside, trying to see what he is able to get to go. And they're still going to be side by side as they battle their way up the hill here at the moment, trying to see if they can get anything to play. Looking, not going to be able to get it to play as Thorsten Seifert, and Kleepkes is able to hold that at bay for the moment. That may not last too long, as we know Thorsten Seifert is very quick here at this point. But a big wiggle there out of Kleepkes could set up a little bit of an opportunity for him to bring his way up and on through. Let's see what they can do here at this point, trying to see what they are able to get done. Looking. Not able to get it to play there coming out of Seat, as here they come down into Worth, streeping their way into the corner. Sometimes you can see an overtake here done, but Seifert not able to get it to go. Oh, as Seifert gets it wrong, and that's going to be him hard into the outside barriers. Hard off into the outside barriers, but we focus in on the battle now for P2 as Tim Bresky trying to send a big move there. Tony Raunen, rather, sending a big move on Tim Bresky down into Lakaja at the moment. That was a brilliant attack there from Raunen. He'll be able to gain that position back and move his way up forward. And that will be him holding on to P2. We look a little farther back down in the field. This is Christian Ruzicka there at the moment, him running wide at the exit of the corner, and that allows for the whole field to streak on by him. Not exactly what Ruzicka wanted to have happen, as the 13 of Tim Bresky now moves his way onto the main straightaway, trying to hold in a little bit behind. Raunen, of note, set the fastest lap of the race at the last time of asking, but I got to tell you, I don't think this battle here for P2 is done quite yet. As we look back a little farther in the field, more battles starting to take themselves out, as that's going to be a side-by-side battle between Maynard and Sakalauskas, trying to see what they are able to get done down into the corner. Sakalauskas in the 171 looks like he's going to be able to, or Maynard rather, in the 171 gets the inside line and gets the job done. Good heads-up play there for that 171 machine. That'll move him up into 11th place position here at this point. Here they go, climbing back up the hill. The battle for P2 still certainly on. Tony Raunen and Tim Bresky trying to see what they are able to get done. Here they come and work. Here they come and go. Looking as they run, looking as they go. Here they work themselves around, trying to see, is Bresky going to have a final assault here at the moment? Who knows if they will or not. There's not a whole lot of time here left to go, as the white flag is in the air at the moment. Trying to see what they can do, trying to see what they can make play. Oh, what will they do? What will they get done? Here we go. Trying to see what they are able to do. Walton right in at the top of the field. There is the battle that you see the absolute gaggle back for 7th, 8th place as they run their way through the hill, trying to be able to see if they can get anything to play. Walton, though, has of no concerns as he comes down through the final two corners right now. He's going to bring his way around the rest of that field, trying to see if they've got a little bit of a fight on their hands. But Alexander Walton pushing his way up through the field here at the moment. He's going to cross over the start-finish line and take the checkered flag for victory here in the B main. Raunen with that move will secure onto P2, followed by Tim Bresky, then Eduardus Kleepkes, Justin Lamelli, Naviscus, Petrovicius, Ruzicka, Spark, and Jazowski. Looks like they're going to come over the line, trying to see if we're going to have any final changes here as they run, and no, we are not. That is going to be how they finish up. All right, folks, 4 heat races, 2 semifinals. It's all been leading down to this. The A-Main, the feature event here tonight from Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Let's quickly run you through about the top 10 or so. It's Vince Peters and Alexander Walton, then Philip Hammer, Tony Raunen, Haroldus Jatautis, followed by Tim Bresky, Jomantis Klipkas, Eduardus Klipkas, then Enrikas Klipkas, and Justin Lamelli. Your top 10. Your leader in the pro category, that's Vince Peters. Your leader in the pro AMs, that's Klipkas. Your leader back down in the AMs, that's Naviscus. Very, very good running all the way around for these drivers. Certainly see here that this is going to be a very close run match, I think, for everybody as they continue to go, as they continue to work their way through the hill. Try to see as they go. There come the lights on, and there go the lights off. We are racing here for the final event here in Spain. It's a good getaway from Peters. It's a terrible getaway from Eduardus Klipkas as he falls well down through the order. But here comes the challenge, almost 3 wide between Peters, Hammer, and Walton coming down into the corner. And that's also going to be Hammer trying to make a little bit of a move on Walton. He's going to have his nose down to the inside as they rise their way up through the corner, trying to see what they can do. Here they go. Let's see what they are able to do. Looking for their way around the corner. I think everybody's been able to make it through nice and cleanly, but we still got a little bit of side-by-side as Tony Raunen tries to make a move here on Philip Hammer. Hammer to the outside, a little bit of contact, and that's going to send Hammer around to the outside. Is all right. Here is the battle for the lead that you see on your screen. Vince Peters trying to hold off on Walton. We're going to take a look back at the contact there with Philip Hammer. Just a little bit too aggressive of a driving there, it has to be said, and that was just enough to send the number 60 back and spinning around. But Vince Peters right now trying to do the unthinkable over the course of this season, and that is holding off the dominant force of Alexander Walton. Tony Raunen, Tim Bresky, Jatautis making up the rest of your top 5 here as they come down into the left-hander. And it looks like Peters is going to be safe for the moment. A 5-lap feature event here as they work their way back up the hill towards Bank Sabadell, trying to see if there is going to be anything to play here at the moment. A little bit of a peek to the inside, little bit of a pressure here from Alexander Walton. You've got to think that's going to be coming on fast and fierce here at the moment. Here they go. Not seeing it play out here at this point. Not seeing anything getting ready to go. Little bit of a wiggle coming off the corner. We look farther back down in the field at the number 92 coming down into a big contact moment down into La Caixa. That was Arturas Kundalis getting it all kinds of wrong and going out into the outside. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Vince Peters still holding on to the lead. I thought for sure there Walton was going to be able to try to make a pass going down the main straightaway, but it just didn't quite look like he was able to do that here at this point. Walton trying to keep up that pressure behind them. Haroldus Jatautis looking pretty good. There was the number 48 on your screen as we saw a little bit of coming together. I think that was Tim Bresky having a problem, and Bresky falling back down through the order here at this point. But this battle between Peters and Walton, absolutely too good to be true, absolutely too close to keep our eyes on anything else here at this point. Oh, looking at a little bit of a move. Contact farther back in the field. That's the number 13 getting spun around. That's Tim Bresky, and that is what forced him farther down through the order. We saw the little bit of a look there from Alexander Walton, but that was not enough to get it to play. Now Walton having a little bit of a look coming up into Wirth there at the moment, trying to see what he is able to get done. We ride on board with Walton as he is patiently, confidently working his way around, trying to find that line, trying to find that area to be able to overtake. So we're about a lap and a half here into this race, trying to see what they are able to do. Vince Peters valiantly holding off the line here at the moment, waiting to see if he's going to be able to see anything to go here at this point. Walton not in a position that he is used to, not used to trailing behind here at the moment. We also take a look a little bit farther back down in the field. I believe that is Philip Hammer trying to close up on the back of the rest of the field here at this moment. excuse me, that is the 129 machine there. I think that's Razanauskas, as he tries to be able to pull his way ahead at the moment. But Hammer taking a little bit of a look, taking a little bit of a peek. As there comes a defensive move out of Vince Peters, moving all the way down to the inside of the track. That's going to compromise his line coming down into turn one. He's got to watch out for that. Walton knows it. Walton's going to send it around the outside, but that will become the inside down into the next corner as Peters tries to defend, gives him a little bit of how you doing, and able to hold on to the line as they rise up the hill through Elf. But that's a little bit of oversteer there from Vince Peters. He's got to gather the car back up under him, and we're going to have a drag race coming up through Renault. It's going to be line preferred here to Alexander Walton. Peters tries to fight back, looks for the crossover. Walton runs it in too deep, and Peters back up into the lead. Oh, that was some brilliant stuff there from Vince Peters. Exactly the kind of racing that you want to see here in this OBS Super Cup, and specifically the Super Cup Spain, sponsored by MTSGRG here today. We take a look a little farther back down in the field. This is the number 129 machine. Is there a little bit of contact? There is a little bit of contact there coming down into Sayat. That has really been one of the pressure points here today for the running, and that is an unfortunate run there for them to be able to have happen. Peters trying to be able to get his way back around right now, trying to be able to hold off the attacking Alexander Walton. As here they come up through the hill right now, trying to see what they are able to get done. Here he pushes. There's another little battle farther back down in the field. That is Philip Hammer, remember, trying to recover from what was a bad couple of laps here at the downset, as Hammer is trying to work on the back of Lars Baumler right now at the moment. Already a big defensive move from Vince Peters as they cross over the stripe there to take the 2-to-go mark from Barney the Flagman. Alexander Walton not looking like he's going to be able to attack here at the moment, but I'll tell you who is. That's Philip Hammer trying to take that 6th place position away from Lars Baumler. Baumler goes very defensive down the main straightaway. That's going to mean Hammer has to look to the outside here at the moment. Tries to send the car in deep. He knows it's going to cut back to him if he can keep his nose in it, but he's not able to do it here at this point. He'll keep his place back in P7. A good defense there from Lars Baumler at the moment. But with 2 laps to go, time is running out here for these drivers as they continue to work their way up and on through, trying to see if anything will play. Alexander Walton trying to make this 4 for 4, but Vince Peters has some different storylines in mind. As here comes Hammer with a good run there coming out of Repsol. He's going to try to make that move down into Sayat, but that's not going to play itself out. He'll have to stay behind Lars Baumler. Again, on the left side of your screen, this is your battle for the lead. Vince Peters and Alexander Walton. On the right-hand side of your screen, that's Lars Baumler and Philip Hammer, the battle for P6. Our 2 best battles on the track as we continue to focus in directly on this battle with Vince Peters coming up and over the hill through Kampsa. This is one of those areas you got to run a little bit defensive, and that's exactly what Peters is doing. Immediately jinking the car to the outside line, the preferred braking line, as he comes down into Lakaja. He's going to prevent any opportunity here from Walton from getting this to play for the moment. A little farther back down in the field, the 213 of Van Routis, Jazelovicius trying to hold off the 119 there of Vancenovicius, trying to see if that's going to be able to play. Coming down through Lakaja, they're going to be side by side. They're going to be fighting themselves out a little bit. Oh, and that's the 13 of Tim Bresky trying to get interested in that as well. But coming across the start-finish line is Vince Peters at the moment. White flag in the air. He's got one more lap to try to hold on a defense here to Alexander Walton as they dive down into turn 1. Here they go through Elf right now. It doesn't look like Walton's got that attack. I think his next best opportunity is going to be into Lakaja, and both Peters and Walton are going to know that. And so it's all going to come down to that run off of turn 9, off of Kampsa. Here they go, looking down into Repsol. Not having the opportunity there is the number 17, but back farther in the field here is Philip Hammer on Lars Baumler, trying to see if he's able to get that same run. It's not going to play. Up at the front of the field, Peters able to hold off a defense there going down into Sayat. That's not going to give too much of an opportunity here for Alexander Walton as they'll stay in line at the moment. Single file order here for both of those lead battles that we are trying to follow here at this point. Working working, trying to see what they are able to do, but not seeing anything to play here at the moment. Here comes that crucial run out of Kampsa for Vince Peters. I think he may have done enough to keep Alexander Walton at bay. Can the same be said for Lars Baumler? It looks pretty close, but I think he's just able to do it. Hammer tries to have a little bit of a peek. Peters doesn't have any sort of attack coming from behind on Alexander Walton, so that's good news there for him as they come up now up through Banks Sabadell, holding everything at bay here for the moment. Let's see if he's able to get this run, get it to play, get it to keep. Walton not looking like he's going to get the overrun here at the moment. Big clobber of the curbs. Coming out of the final corner, New Holland. Vince Peters has his eyes on the finish line as he has been able to do the nearly unthinkable this season. He will cross the line and take victory from Alexander Walton, your second winner only over the course of the season. Heraldus Jatautis will come home third with Rounden, Jamantis, Baumler, Hammer, Spark, and Kleepkes, and then Justin Lamelli rounding out your top 10. As that looks like a little bit of a flip there, I think, for Philip Hammer as he crossed on over the line. As the rest of the field comes across, your winner, by the way, in the Pro-Am category, that is going to be Enrikas Kleepkes, closely followed by Justin Lamelli, and then Tadas Krasaitis will round out your podium in the Pro-Am category. In the Am category, it is Navikas able to take victory, followed by Jazilevicius, and then Sander Vermillion will round out your three-car podium in the Am category. My goodness gracious, what a fantastic little race, little couple of races we had here today. Absolutely love to see it from these drivers. It is truly spectacular to be able to see. Really, really good stuff. And there you see the victory lap celebration from both Vince Peters and Alexander Walton. Absolutely incredible stuff from the both of them. Love seeing that massive, massive battle for them as they go. Really, really good running for them. There is your victor in the Pro-Am category, Enrikas Kleepkes, as they are doing a great, great run to be able to hold on to that Pro-Am victory. A very, very good run for Kleepkes for that PPF racing team in the number 120. Very, very impressed with him today as we've got some burnouts going on down into the inside of the circuit. Always love to see that a little bit. And there is your victor in the Am category, the number 237 for SRB Motorsports by Latinva. That is just Navikas there doing a fantastic job to be able to hold off an assault from behind. Very, very impressive stuff there for him. You've got to love to see that for all of them. As there we get your top two coming to the line right now. Kleepkes looks like he is going to join them for maybe some celebratory burnouts. And behind them, we are going to get the number 56 coming in there as well. That is your third podium finisher, Heraldus Jatautis, bringing his way up and on through. Very, very good running for all three of them. Very impressive stuff for Vince Peters entirely. As there is your top three overall podium, followed by your winners in the Pro-Am and Am category. As it looks like we've got a little bit of time here to talk to the number 45 of Vince Peters. He does a little bit of a burnout, and we're going to bring him on up here into the booth. Vince, I don't want to take too much away from your celebrations, but what a run out there today, my friend.
Yeah, that was close. I just kept it cool, kept the tires in check because the track temp was out of this world, and I think it helped me in the end because it seems like Alexander couldn't make any moves at the end anymore.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it. At about lap 2 or 3, you were under some very, very fierce pressure and then were able to withstand it. So I have to ask you, how much sort of rear mirror driving were you doing? How much were you managing those tires? And how much were you just focused on running your race versus trying to keep a dominant force like Walton behind you?
Yeah, definitely I had my third eye on the mirror. I think also in the heats and the other races, because there were quite some sends and I had to avoid some people going deep, including Alexander as well. So I just kept it cool, like I said, and yeah, it just went perfectly like planned.
Well, perfectly like planned. Can we see a repeat from you as we pretty much go to the opposite of a modern FIA Great Formula One circuit here and go to Lime Rock Park next time? Are we going to see a repeat?
It depends on how much time I have for practice. Today I actually also practice only today because it's a bit busy in my personal life. But yeah, I'll try my best, and I'm going for race here.
Well, Vince, I wish you all the luck in the world, and I hope you get some good time to practice, my friend.
Cheers. Bye.
All right, that was your overall victor, Vince Peters, and absolutely incredible stuff across the board. There you see that final finishing order up and down through it. A good run. Vince Peters finally being the one to dethrone Alexander Walton here today. Very good stuff. Klipkas able to take that victory again in the Pro-Am category, followed by Lamelli and Krasaitis. Then it was Naviscus, Jazulaviscus, and Vermilion able to round out your Am podium here today. Well, folks, you heard me say it. In 2 weeks' time, we change things around a little bit. We get ready to go, and we turn it all back again for Lime Rock Park. Going to be absolutely incredible to see. I am very much looking forward to that, and we thank you for joining us here today at the MTSGRG Super Cup of Spain. It's been an absolute treat to be able to bring you all the racing action. And on behalf of myself, DJ Clark, as well as the rest of everyone behind the team here at the OBS Super Cup, again, thank you for joining us. And until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.